Today I'm going to share with you what I've noticed is one of the hardest part. In fact, this might be the hardest part of freelance copywriting, especially more novice copywriters. I noticed this happening over and over again, running into this challenge, and hopefully I will also have some tips for you that will help you overcome this major challenge for freelance copywriters.
These are the proven direct response marketing, copywriting, and entrepreneurship success strategies you can use today to write your own ticket and create the life you want. I am Furr, and this is Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. Now, here's today's breakthrough.
So what's the hardest part of freelance copywriting? It is capturing the client's voice. It's really easy as a copywriter to study copywriting, to learn, especially when you're new, to study copywriting, to learn copywriting, to, learn all the headline formulas, and you practice handwriting other people's ads. And what ends up happening when you do that is you write copy that sounds like everyone else. You sound like everybody else out there. And even worse, the copy that you write, you start to sound, I'll put this in quotes, like a copywriter. You start to sound like a copywriter. And so you're writing this copy that just sounds like instantly your prospects who see thousands of advertising messages a day respond to your ad like, oh, there's another ad. There's another person trying to sell me things. And their filters go up, and their filters are just on high alert saying, hey, don't trust this person. All that they're trying to do is separate me from my money. And I don't know that I can I don't know that I can believe anything that they say. That's how your prospects are responding when you write like a copywriter, when you sound like other copywriters, when you are copying everyone else's copy. And yeah, it's important to understand the principles and strategies and techniques of effective copywriting, but it's just as important to write something that sounds unique, that feels new, that feels like it has its own character, it has its own voice, it captures its own essence, it is coming from someone's heart and not some copywriter's swipe file, right? And actually the greatest swipe file, or the greatest ads that you find in your swipe file, when they were written initially, they felt like they were coming from someone's heart and not from someone's swipe file. So what's the biggest solution to this? Because you're still going to make promises, and you're still going to make offers, and you're still going to write copy that follows some basic fundamental rules of copywriting. But what's the solution? Number one, how do you write copy that doesn't just sound like copywriting? And number two, how do you capture the client's voice in a way where it feels like it's a human being communicating and not like an automatronic copywriter? You do it through stories. You do it through asking your client to share their stories, asking them to talk about their journey, asking them to talk about where the product came from, asking them to talk about why they feel it's important, asking them to share their client stories, asking them, all of these stories that you can get them telling. If you can capture those stories and you can finesse them, massage them, work them into your copywriting, your copy will immediately be better. It will be more engaging, entertaining, attention-getting to read. But number two, it's also going to capture the client's voice. And so you'll get that comment like I've gotten since very early on in my career. It's like I wrote this, only better. It's like I wrote this, only better. In fact, when I wrote the sales letter for the Titans of Direct Response promotion, Brian Kurtz, he put it out, and Paris Lampropoulos, his good friend and a copywriter, calls Brian up, and Brian knows that Paris is calling about the sales letter for the Titans event, and he's thinking, oh no, Paris is just going to tear into me here, and he said, Paris, what's up with the sales letter? And he said, I don't know, I just didn't know that you could write like this. And the reason that it felt like Brian had written the sales letter is I spent a bunch of time on the phone with Brian asking him just to share his stories. Like, what was the origin of this event? How did it come about? Like, and I knew many of these things, but I asked him to share again. Why are you having each of these different speakers? What is so important to you personally about bringing these people in? And it was all stories. And in fact, I did an entire hour and 45-minute breakdown of that original Titans event letter, which is different than the DVD's letter, which is still online today. And I explained line by line, like, here's the story selling principles at work in this. Here's how I'm using story in my copywriting in this. And I went line by line through all of that. And I explained how I was using stories to sell. And I recorded that and I put it as a bonus for my story selling masterclass, which is all about using stories as a copywriter, as a marketer, as a salesperson, using stories to sell. And it goes into detail, including over a dozen different story template structures, frameworks that you can use in copy. And as a copywriter, then what you do is you have this framework in mind. And as you're talking to the client, you say, oh, that's an invention story, right? Or, that's a secret mentor story, or, that's their origin story, right? Like, and you are able to identify, oh, that's that story that I know can work in my marketing, and I'm going to tell it in a really effective way. And then when you do that, when you share stories through your marketing, what's happening is you are, you're connecting human being to human being, and you're not sounding like every other copywriter out there. In fact, you probably won't sound like a copywriter until it comes time to where you transition into the offer and actually make your pitch. And so if you're interested in going through the story selling masterclass, it's actually part of the BTMS Insiders training library. Now, once upon a time, I actually sold it for about $500. And frankly, it could have been sold for 10 times that. But then I decided I'm going to just include it with BTMS Insiders, which is like Netflix for copywriting and marketing training. So you pay one low monthly fee and you get access to everything. And so I'll include a link in the description with this episode to the Story Selling Masterclass, as well as to the BTMS Insiders All Access Pass to learn more. My name is Roy Furr. This has been your daily episode of Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. And the hardest part of freelance copywriting is really writing copy that feels like, your client, the human being, wrote it, and going from client to client and writing like one client and writing like the next client and writing like the next client. When you figure out stories and how to use stories and can connect with your clients and get their stories and tell them in your copy, you solve that problem. And it's pretty awesome. So leave a comment or review with this. Let me know on a scale of 1 to 10 how valuable you're finding it and why. What are your action items? What are your takeaways? What are you getting from this? Also, tap that like button before you go so you get more content like this delivered to you, and so the magical algorithms of the internet know to share it with more people like you who will find it valuable. You can certainly share it with folks directly, and subscribe before you go. You can subscribe here. You can also go to breakthroughmarketingsecrets.com, sign up for my daily emails, and Monday through Friday you'll get episode notifications as well as more exclusive content for email subscribers. Again, I'm Roy Furr. This is your daily episode of Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. I always aim for 10 out of 10 value. I hope that I've delivered it here, and I look forward to seeing you again in your next episode. See you soon. Bye.
Thank you once again for tuning in to this daily episode of Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. Remember, check out the links with this episode for even more value. Now make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, and engage in every way you can to keep this show going and growing and delivering daily value to you. I'll catch you soon for your next big breakthrough.